Hello and welcome. This is Ogtv Main News. I am Bukola Agbakisu. On the news, President Muhammadu Buhari promises extensive reform of Nigerian police. Ogun State government distributes palliatives to cushion effects of COVID-19 pandemic. Insurance industry's asset rises to 1.8 trillion naira. Armenian Azerbaijan forces resume fresh clashes days after ceasefire. Happiness is the highest form of health.
And on sports news tonight, Cobra Pulev and Anthony Joshua fight slated for December 12. These and other sports stories. When I return, my name is ABIODUN Alabi.
We are starting the news with this report from Ondo State. ARAKUNRIN AKEREDOLU has been re-elected governor of Ondo State, winning 15 out of 18 local government areas by defeating PDP's Eyitayo Jegede, who won in 3 local government councils. Having won 25% in 2/3 of the councils, the chief returning officer for the election, Professor Idowu Olayinka, declared AKEREDOLU as the governor-elect at the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Akure, which doubles as the final collation center. Bumi Adigun, who was in Akure, completes the report.
Camera lenses on standby, waiting for the results to start trickling in from the 18 local governments. Security personnel, party stakeholders, party agents, including the media, ready for a vigil at the Alagbaka INEC office. Then the unveiling of the returning officer by the Ondo State Resident Electoral Commissioner.
I will just solicit the support of all the stakeholders who are currently at this venue at the state coalition center, the party agents. When the president presenting on behalf of the local government has given up the results, if there are queries,
without much ado, the much awaited results rolled in one after the other, from Akure South to Akoko Northwest, Idori, and Owo.
ABC 9357, that is 9,350. PDP 11852, 11,852.
In all, 12 local government areas were released in the wee hours of the night, and the remaining 6 pushed till a day after the election. In the early hours of Sunday, the collation center was again filled to the brim with no observation of COVID-19 protocols, apart from few with face masks. Within a period, the remaining 6 local government areas were done with, and winner emerges.
Party APC 13383. Party APC 13383. PDP 4680. PDP 4680. ZLP 4760. ZLP 4760.
AKEREDOLU of APC secured the highest number of votes among all the 17 contestants. Moreover, it was expected to score at least 1/4 of votes in the 2 votes, that's in the 12 local governments, but it scored at least 25% in all the 18 local government areas. Then moreover, the margin of lead, that's the difference between his votes and that of the person of the candidate who placed second, is higher than the number of council votes. So the margin of lead is higher than the number of council votes. So consequently, having satisfied the requirements of the law, I hereby declare OGUN AKEREDOLU, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as a winner and is hereby returned elected.
ARAKUNRIN AKEREDOLU of the All Progressives Congress (APC) polled 292,830 to win the election. Untitled of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) scored 195,791 to clinch the second position, and ABIODUN of Zenith Labour Party (ZLP) came distant third with 69,127. From Akure, it's been ABIODUN reporting for OGTV News.
It has been jubilation galore in Akure, the Ondo State capital, since ARAKUNRIN AKEREDOLU was declared winner of October 10 governorship poll. The governor-elect, while addressing the people at his country home, Owo, promised to be focused, dedicated, and continue with ongoing developmental projects, not forgetting to address some grey areas. ABIODUN once again has details in this package.
Victory is sweet and has many sides. That was ARAKUNRIN AKEREDOLU when 12 local governments results have been announced, one after the other. His brother governors, former governors, political associates, party leaders started coming into Owo to be part of the jubilation, as it remained only few local governments to go. And right on time, the results were announced and the man emerged as the governor for the second term in office. ARAKUNRIN AKEREDOLU appreciates the President Muhammadu Buhari and his brother governors for their support before, during, and after the election.
President Muhammadu Buhari, the Vice President and national leader. In particular, I want to thank my brother governors who have been here all the while since we started this, and all of them in the campaign council led by
He promised to be more focused, dedicated, and never rest on his horse at ensuring he build on what he has been doing.
To hold this as a sacred trust to continue in a style of leadership which I believe this is more or less a validation of that style of leadership. I thank you. I thank everybody.
ARAKUNRIN AKEREDOLU also enjoined Untitled and ABIODUN, as he described them as adversaries and not opponents, to join him in building Ondo State. The certificate of return will be presented to the governor and his deputy on Tuesday, 13th of October, 2020. ABIODUN, OGTV News.
And still on Ondo gubernatorial election, the governor of Ogun State, Prince ABIODUN, has congratulated his Ondo State counterpart, Rotimi AKEREDOLU, for emerging the winner of Saturday's gubernatorial election in the state. Governor ABIODUN, in a statement by his chief press secretary, Mr. Kunle Shomori, described the victory as a testimony of AKEREDOLU's popularity among his people, noting that his performance in the last 4 years has contributed immensely to the sound victory recorded at the poll. He commended his doggedness, tenacity, steadfastness, and above all, perseverance, which is the hallmark of a great leader. Prince ABIODUN expressed happiness over the peaceful conduct of the election, saying it was an indication that Nigeria was steadily making progress in our democratic journey, adding that with time the country will get there, while assuring the governor-elect of the support of his government and that of the people of Ogun State for a successful tenure. Governor ABIODUN expressed hopes that AKEREDOLU's second term would usher in more physical development that will be second to none in the history of Ondo State. He called on the people of Ondo State to give the governor the needed support so that the state could experience more development in the next 4 years. The Ogun State government has called on residents to take advantage of the ongoing second phase of its community-based COVID-19 testing. The testing, which is free of charge, will be held across the 20 local government areas of the state from Monday to Friday between 8 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon for the next 3 months. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka, revealed this in a statement that sample collection would be carried out in one specified primary health care center in each local government area, saying health personnel in the primary health care centers have been trained specifically for this purpose. She said once samples have been collected, the health personnel will transfer them to the designated labs within the state for testing, adding that this method will not only lead to increased testing but also help reveal the true burden of the disease in the state vis-a-vis positivity rate. The commissioner urged residents to present themselves for the exercise without nursing any form of fear or misgivings. She said the decision to domesticate COVID-19 testing in the 20 local government areas of the state was founded on the national recommendation of community-based testing as a means to improving early case detection and treatment of both symptomatic and asymptomatic cases. According to Koka, evidence has shown that increased testing, including those done within communities, will improve case detection, ascertain the true status of effectivity, and thus help in limiting spread of the infection, particularly through unrecognized local transmission. Ogun State government has distributed palliatives to the vulnerable people in Ifo and Ewekoro local government areas to cushion the effects of COVID-19 pandemic in the society. The State Commissioner for Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Barrister Femi Ogunbanwo, stated this while distributing the palliatives in the local government areas of Ogun Central Senatorial District of the state. Yusuf Ganiu reports.
With the burden of poverty, it has become increasingly difficult for families and communities, especially the vulnerables, to cope with the current economic challenge due to the effect of COVID-19 pandemic across the country. The distribution of palliatives to the people within the 20 local government areas by the Ogun State government and CAGOVID is targeted to the vulnerable in order to cushion the effect of COVID-19 pandemic. The palliatives, which comprise food items like rice, gari, noodles, salt and sugar, were distributed to beneficiaries in Ifo and Ewekoro local government areas. The State Commissioner for Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Barrister Femi Ogunbanwo, and his counterpart in the Community Development and Cooperatives, Honorable Amzat Ganiyu, say Governor ABIODUN is passionate about the vulnerable, adding that this kind of intervention is to give succor to the less privileged, particularly at this critical period.
The items you are seeing were donated by corporate entities under the platform of Coalition Against COVID, so briefly known as CACOVID. So they are just to support the most vulnerable people of the society after the COVID crisis.
Chairman Transition Committee in Ifo and Ewekoro local government areas, as well as other personalities, appreciate the current administration for its magnanimity at ensuring that the people benefit from government's intervention.
It's a very good thing that our governor is reaching out to our people at the grassroots, and this is part of the dividend of democracy that we are expecting. Though nobody expects a pandemic during this period, but it has come. We don't have any choice, and the governor has stood up to the challenges, so we appreciate all this gesture.
The vulnerable peoples are some people that are very concerned to the government because they don't know where to go to, they don't know where to run to, and with this they really appreciate it, and we too we are congratulating our governor for a wonderful job he has done.
The beneficiaries also expressed their satisfaction towards the gesture.
Ọmọọba Prince Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún pé wọ́n ṣe gan-an wọ́n kọ́ ìgbàgbé wa o.
Adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run, adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ tàwọn náà fún nǹkan tán sí fún àwa tá a ní ìgbèníjà lára kí wọ́n ti fi fún wa ó jẹ́ pé ẹlòmíì ronú pé kò sí okun àtagbára láti lè jíjẹ mímu ṣùgbọ́n adúpẹ́.
Inú mi dùn dáadáa o tó jẹ́ pé mò ń jó ni.
The state government, through the Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, is expected to extend the palliatives to other local government areas in the state. Some of the local government visited so far include Ikene, Shagamu, Abeokuta South and Abeokuta North. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
Ogun State House of Assembly has commended the choice of nomination of a former president of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, Alhaji Waheed Odushile, and that of the Vice Chancellor Tai Solarin University of Education, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, as commissioner nominees for information as well as education, science and technology by the State Governor, Prince Dapo ABIODUN, describing them as round pegs in round holes. The Speaker, Right Honorable ARAKUNRIN, who gave the commendation while screening the two nominees, also challenged them to justify the confidence reposed in them by deploying the relevant skills and wealth of experience in their respective fields in turning around the fortunes of the sectors for better. Correspondent Kola Woliosha covered the plenary, and his report is presented in this package.
Speaker Right Honorable ARAKUNRIN, while screening the nominees alongside other lawmakers, says if the nominees are confirmed and sworn in by the governor, they should put in place within the limits of time strategies towards adding value to the developmental efforts of the present administration in their spheres, with emphasis to sustain mutually beneficial two-way communication system, as well as qualitative education at all levels.
Nominees of the governor can be well described as what is known as round peg in the round hole, looking at the two of them. And I want to appreciate the courage of the governor for telling us specifically where each of them are going to this time around. So we are really on top of the game in those areas where you are nominated to serve. One can really appeal to you that if eventually you are confirmed by this house, please make the state proud of your service to the people of the state. The time is short, and I know that given your background, you have what it takes to excel in those fields.
Other lawmakers who took turn to access the nominees stressed on the role of constructive criticisms in good governance and challenged the nominees to, upon assumption of office, put in place innovation to revamp and strengthen the operations of the state broadcasting corporations through technological advancements while improving on the harmonious relationship between the executive and legislative arms of government. The lawmakers sought the need for the commissioner nominee for information, Alhaji Odushile, to, upon his confirmation and swearing in, formulate policies towards propagating government's infrastructural development in the rural communities through the traditional media while projecting the people's needs to the government. Responding, Waheed Odushile emphasized the essence of effective information management to build and sustain symbiotic relationship and between the government and the governed, pointing out the need to further propagate all the laudable developmental programs and projects of governments to the people. He assures that the experience he had in journalism over the years will be put in use in managing the information and communication sector.
They say to whom much is given, much is expected. We will address the constraints of OGBC, OGTV. I stand on professionalism today because the management, I know they are competent, they are good people there. But when you are constrained, what do you do? We will address the constraints of OGBC, OGTV. Because information, EU has information as power. And if the right information is not given to the people, you don't expect them to take the decision that you want them to take.
In his response, Professor Arigbabu assures that education sector under his purview will be restructured to ensure increased student enrollment in public schools, just as technology will be deployed to achieve seamless teaching and learning in schools.
How we work together with the various stakeholders to look at curriculum in schools and look at subject delivery in school and look at how we can use technology, use subject teachers and then experts to develop technology-driven lessons in our public schools. So teachers' welfare and student welfare is also going to be part of the cornerstone of my program to ensure that we have a system that all of us will be very proud of.
He stated that the education curriculum under him would include the teaching and learning of technical and vocational education to equip the students on how to be job creators rather than job seekers, noting that he had recorded a lot of successes on the implementation of vocational studies in Tasred.
More than 10,000 youth and women will be trained adequately on literacy and skill development in order to improve the standard of living. The Special Advisor to the Governor on Primary and Secondary Education, Mrs. Ronke Shoyombo, made this known during the submission of final reports on science, technology, engineering, mathematics, teacher survey and activities in non-formal skills sector held at the Ministry of Education Conference Hall, Ukimoso, Abeokuta. Mrs. Shoyombo, while appreciating the skills specialists for their doggedness, excellent performance and professional display, said that the report they submitted would lead the state into the right direction. She therefore promised that the state government will think out of the box to carry out the recommendations.
So to me, now that we have this recommendation, I need all of us to look at it and see how we can fly. Because if we improve standard in that area, it is automatically going to improve the standard in Sudan, and it will automatically make Mr. Akinsholu to be happy when they get to secondary school, because everything is in cycle.
The project coordinator, Ogun State Transformation Economic Project, Engineer Joko Senomi, applauded the consulting firms for a job well done and World Bank for aligning with the vision of government to improve the lives and standard of the people of the state. In her remarks, the project manager for World Bank in the state, Ms. Olaiton Oduwaye, pointed out that submission of the report was just the first level to accomplishing the project, and that they would not rest on their oars to ensure that the implementation would be properly done and delivered during the time frame given to them. In the remarks, the representatives of the consulting firms, Anovia Limited and BDO Consulting Management, Mr. Benga Adedayo and Dr. Joseph Olabaju, respectively thanked the present administration and the state for prioritizing education and for the level of support received, which has made the assignment successful. And still to come in the news, Edo State House of Assembly impeaches Speaker. More news and reports after the break. You're still watching OGTV News. The news continues. President Muhammadu Buhari has assured former Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, that Nigeria will spare no effort to ensure she emerges Director General of the World Trade Organization, WTO. President Buhari gave the assurance when he received Okonjo-Iweala at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. He said she deserved all Nigeria has to offer because she had also served the country diligently. Okonjo-Iweala, who had previously served as the Managing Director, Operations of the World Bank, is one of the two candidates contesting for the top position of the WTO. The president assured he will make more phone calls and send letters to some world leaders for more support. He noted that he did the same for Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, president of the African Development Bank. Okonjo-Iweala, a renowned development economist, thanked the president and his ministers, particularly the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, for supporting her. The former Minister of Finance also appreciated ECOWAS leaders for their endorsement, mentioning it in particular the outstanding contributions of President Mamadou Issoufou of Niger Republic and immediate past chairman of ECOWAS, as well as President Al-Azan Ouattara of Cote d'Ivoire. In a bid to operate with understanding of human feelings under democratic setting in Nigeria, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, recently disbanded the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, a unit of the Nigeria Police Force, owing to agitations and protests across the country. The action taken by the police boss was greeted with diverse reactions from Nigerians. In this report, Peter Falomo seeks Nigerians' view on the impact of disbandment on socio-economic development of the nation and its effect on security of lives and property of the citizenry. His reports.
It all started as a joke when agitations by some people arose with protests to the federal government and the Inspector General of Police to end the operations of the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad.
SARS, like police anywhere in the world, is a division of police that has been carved out of the regular police to do an irregular function. They are key because they are the one fighting against armed robbery, banditry, kidnapping, and fraud, as well as cultism.
Like a wildfire, the protests soon spread to other parts of the country, with socio-economic activities paralyzed. In the best interest of the citizens, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, on Sunday 11th October 2020, dissolved the operations of SARS across the 36 states police commands and the Federal Capital Territory.
It is hereby directed as follows. The Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Nigerian Police, otherwise known as SARS, is hereby dissolved across all formations, the 36 state police commands, and the Federal Capital Territory.
In their reactions, respondents commend the action taken by the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, saying that such prompt decisions portends the spirit of democracy.
The responsible leader have to look into that direction and take a responsible step, just like what the Inspector General of Police has done. And there's nothing bad in people protesting that this is what we want, but the protest must be very, very peaceful.
According to them, the leadership of the country should not hesitate to improve security measures towards guiding against creating opening for the insurgents to perpetrate their nefarious activities.
Something has to be done so that people are monitored, Yahoo boys are monitors, criminals are monitors, and they are not even allowed to perpetrate their normal evils that they normally used to do.
There should be another body entirely that can take up the job of FSAS. Disbanding then does not mean that no other section or no other unit that can. After all, before FSAS, there were police units that go after criminals, that go after bandits, that even go after people who commit crimes.
They added that police security outfits should constitute a special body that will always investigate alleged cases of human rights violation by erring officers and men operating beyond the constitution that established it. Peter Falomo, OGTV News.
President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday addressed the nation for the first time amid the ongoing nationwide protests against the brutality and extrajudicial killings by men of the now defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Nigeria Police Force. In the about 2-minute broadcast uploaded on his verified Twitter handle, the president said the disbandment of the police unit was a first step to extensive police reform. The president said officials of the disbanded team found to be responsible for wrongful acts will be brought to justice. President Buhari also said he had ordered a probe into the killing of a young man in Oyo State during the recent protest. The Office of the Attorney General in Ogun State has debunked rumors that no arrested member of the End SARS protesters in Ogun State has been tried or convicted of attempted murder, conspiracy, or any other offenses. In a statement signed by the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Akingbolahan Adeniran, while others have been released on bail pending the conclusion of investigations by the police, 3 other individuals were charged by the police with felonies and have now been detained pursuant to a remand order issued by an Abeokuta magistrate court. According to the release, they will now have to be taken through the next steps in the criminal justice processes. The processes are police investigation case file detailing the evidence against them, review of the case file independently by the Ministry of Justice, and if the ministry decides that charges are indeed warranted, they will then be immediately arraigned at the High Court of Ogun State, where their place will be taken prior to the commencement of trial. They will also be and at all times be entitled to legal representation according to the release. Meanwhile, the Ogun State Police Command has debunked social media reports that 3 persons arrested causing violence during the recent EndSARS protests in Ogun State have been jailed for life. Public Relations Officer of the Command, DSP Abimbola Oyeyemi, in a statement said the information is not true, describing it as a calculated attempt to instigate members of the public against the police. The statement states that the 3 arrested persons were among those who violently disrupted the annual Orude celebration at the Olowo's Palace on Saturday, 10th of October 2020, during which they vandalized public property and injured a police sergeant on duty at the palace. It adds that 27 other persons arrested from other parts of the state, including the disbanded cells officers, were released by the command on Sunday, the 11th of October. The 3 persons who caused the disturbance at the Olowo's Palace, according to DSP Oyeyemi, have been arraigned at the Ishabo Magistrate Court in Abeokuta, from where they were taken to Correctional Center pending the time that bail conditions will be perfected. In a related development, the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, Hakeem Odumosu, has called for calm and professionalism from protesters and police personnel as the EndSARS protests have been hijacked by some unscrupulous elements who are fully armed in the state. A statement by the Public Relations Officer of the Command, SP Olumoyiwa Adejobi, reveals that some armed protesters laid siege on the anti-kidnapping unit officer of the command, broke into the cell and liberated 2 of the kidnap cases suspects before they were tactically and professionally repelled. In the process, Inspector A.K. Joshua, Inspector Erifolami Ayodeji, now late, Inspector Peter Agabi, all attached to the anti-kidnapping unit of Lagos State Command, were shot and critically injured. CP Hakeem Odumosu has therefore urged protesters to be peaceful and avoid violent attacks on police personnel or any other security agents. He also wants police personnel not to harass innocent citizens as they are entitled to their fundamental human rights. There is need for a joint effort by parents and government to show commitment by dedicating resources for girls to realize their rights and fulfill their full potentials. This informed the advocacy by the Association of Women Engineers, Abeokuta chapter, at this year's celebration of International Day of the Girl Child. Elizabeth Esson reports that the association, led by its chairman, was at the State Hospital Ijayi, Abeokuta, to sensitize mothers on the need to give the girl child equal opportunities as their male counterparts, or reports.
According to UNICEF, every October 11 is the International Day of Girl Child, to amplify the voice of the girl child and also for female children to stand up for their rights. The theme for this year's celebration, My Voice Our Equal Right, according to the Association of Professional Women Engineers, Abeokuta chapter, serves as a reminder to listen to girls, understand the challenges they are facing, and to ensure that all of them have equal opportunity for a bright, safe, and healthy future.
That training their girl child will go a long way in making their girl child what God wants them to be. They should not deny them the opportunity of getting to the heights that has been destined for them by limiting them because of their gender.
Led by its chairman, Engineer Mrs. Olanike Ogunbono, the association, while commemorating this year's event at the State Hospital Ijayi, Abeokuta, enjoins mothers to support and encourage the girl child who chooses to go into engineering profession like their male counterparts.
One of our mission is that we should increase the percentage of female engineers in the country. for better development in the country, we need more female engineers. So that's the purpose of this celebration here in State Hospital Jai. We have said to come to meet our mothers to help us to train the girl child.
Dr. Bumi Oshinaike, a gynecologist, speaking on behalf of Dr. AKEREDOLU Ladende, Medical Director, State Hospital Ijaya, Abeokuta, recommending the association joins in the advocacy for gender equality.
We can't in any way underestimate the importance of the girl child. And one thing that is commonly said is that women's rights is the human right. What I mean simply is that every right of a human being, every woman deserves to have it too.
The association visited the ward where the first girl child, delivered on October 11, 2020, was presented with gifts and a scholarship award to tertiary institution level. Abeokuta chapter of the Association of Women Engineers comprises female engineers in all engineering fields who work and reside in Abeokuta. Elizabeth Esu, OGTV News.
Still on the International Day of the Girl Child, the African First Ladies Peace Mission, AFLPM, has called for equal opportunities and greater protection of the girl child from gender-based violence and harmful practices. The body of wives of African heads of states and governments made the call in a goodwill message by the acting chairperson and Nigeria's First Lady, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, on the occasion of International Day of the Girl Child 2020, themed "My Voice, Our Equal Future." In a statement signed by the Special Assistant to the President on African First Ladies Mission, AFLM, Dr. Mairo Almakura, Mrs. Buhari also urged African leaders to equip every girl child with quality education and new skills that would ultimately help them to be self-reliant as a woman. The chairperson of AFLPM equally tasked African government and stakeholders on more attention and resources towards protecting the girl child from HIV and AIDS and encouraged them to stand out as advocates for change. Economic drivers of most developed and developing nations are believed to be anchored on their population growth, inflation rate, and most importantly, internet. In this special report, Idowu Fabajo takes a look at the impact of internet on the Nigerian economy. His reports.
The merits of information communications technology cannot be overemphasized. It is a phenomenon that fits into the globalization project of empowering gender and sustainable poverty alleviation in a nation's economy. Taking a look at the impact of internet on the nation's economy, experts say IT-based system will aid enterprises in maximizing profit with less capital investment and high-quality products.
But are there opportunities? Yes. Are there people who are trying to make the best out of what is actually a horrible situation? Yes. Should we try our best to not worsen the situation and to contribute to the quota of people doing good, projecting a good Nigerian image? Absolutely.
It's a thing that has helped the economy, but the fraud therein has actually adversely affected us. One, the trust that people has in the Nigerian economy is being, it's been derailed. Why? Because when you hear that you can send money from here to here and the money is not being delivered, you begin to feel, oh, can I do that again?
Very good. It's what everybody is embracing now, because you can advertise your product without having a particular physical structure anywhere, and so that makes it easy. People can get across to you in this age of internet and telephone, Instagram, Facebook, so you can actually advertise a product and then customers can buy from you without necessarily coming to visit you. That is going to reduce the pressure on our road. It's going to prolong the life of people, because you will not have to be driving around looking for what. You can sit at the comfort of your home.
They add that internet has greatly increased productivity, reduction in transaction costs, thereby making the economy of Nigeria high.
There are some loopholes that are still yet to be fixed. People getting access into one account or the other, or some, it's actually one of those things that actually still needs to be managed.
In times of convenience, in times of, being able to do what they have to do in record time. These are some of the advantages. Needless to say that the age in which we are is the age of internet, and you figure it out that businessmen, SMEs, are able to concentrate their attention on upstream time for doing their businesses instead of going to waste precious time.
They concluded that information and communication technologies have an important role in national development, as it is fast becoming the largest distribution platform for providing public and private facilities and services to millions of people. Edo Fabaju, OGTV News.
From Edo State, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Francis Okiye, has been impeached. His removal followed a motion by the majority leader of the House, Henry Okurobo, that Okiye be removed over allegations of high-handedness. His impeachment letter was signed by 9 out of 10 members who were present during the brief sitting on Monday. The House immediately sworn in Marcus Onobun, representing Esan West State constituency, as the new Speaker. The Lagos State government has approved the resumption of all classes in pre-primary, primary and secondary schools. The Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo, announced this in a statement. She said the remaining classes in both public and private schools in the state can resume from Monday, 19th of October 2020. She enjoined school owners and managers of all private schools to ensure that they are cleared by the Office of Education Quality Assurance before physical resumption. Joint Labour Congress in Kwara State has said that workers in both state public service and local government areas of the state will commence an indefinite strike action over non-payment of 30,000 naira minimum wage on Tuesday. In a statement issued on Monday and signed by the chairman of the NLC, Aliyu Isa Ore, Ezekiel Adegoke of the TUC, and Soliu Suleiman of the Joint Negotiating Council said that the workers should proceed on the industrial action if the state government failed to sign and implement the 30,000 naira minimum wage by close of work on Monday. The statement, which said that every worker should remain at home, added that any worker found in any ministry or office will be seriously dealt with. No worker should come to work until they were directed by the leadership of the labor movement, the statement added. A federal high court in Abuja has reversed the decision by the Independent National Electoral Commission to deregister the Youth Party of Nigeria. Justice Iyank Eko, in a judgment on Monday, held that INEC acted in breach of the political party's right to fair hearing when it announced the youth party's deregistration during the pendency of the case the party filed against INEC's earlier threat to deregister it. Justice Eko held that although INEC is empowered under Section 255, subsection A of the Constitution to deregister political parties, such power must be exercised lawfully. Many people were feared dead in a road accident that occurred at Ibelajewa village along Ilesha-Akure Expressway on Monday when a truck carrying diesel lost control, split its contents and caught fire. About 7 vehicles, including an 18-passenger commercial bus, were reportedly burned. Spokesperson for Osun Command of Nigeria Police Force, Yemisi Opalola, confirmed the accident, saying the number of the victims could not be ascertained yet. On the business segment of the news, Nigerian insurance industry's asset rises to 1.8 trillion naira. These are some business news after the break. Don't go away. On the business segment of the news, the Nigerian insurance industry's asset rose from 1.61 trillion naira at the end of the 2019 financial year of 1.8 trillion naira in June 2020. According to the National Insurance Commission, the total assets stood at 1.26 trillion naira as of the end of 2018 financial period. NICOM expressed its drive to achieve 40% financial inclusion in the insurance industry. A report on insurance development in Nigeria, the financial inclusion option by Subaru Darazo, said the goal of achieving the target of 40% adult population penetration will be pursued through a broad range of coordinated interventions. The stock market recorded an increase of 5.3% last week, with investors gaining 740 billion naira. The Nigerian Stock Exchange All-Share Index and market capitalization both appreciated by 5.30% to close the week at 28,415.31 and 14.85 trillion naira respectively. A total turnover of 3.14 billion shares worth 35.37 billion naira in 35,099 deals were traded last week by investors on the floor of the stock exchange, while the financial services industry, measured by volume, led the activity chart with 2.32 billion shares valued at 25.82 billion naira traded in 21,306 deals. However, the oil and gas industry followed with 200.57 million shares worth 1.01 billion naira in 977 deals, as the third place was occupied by the goods industry with a turnover of 149.20 million shares worth 3.63 in 2,881 deals. As more people come online, the total volume of data consumed by Nigerian subscribers increased by 83% in 2019. The latest report by the Nigerian Communications Commission has shown, according to the NCC's 2019 subscribers and network data report, telecom subscribers consumed 125,149.86 terabytes of data as of December 2019, compared with 68,154.12 terabytes of data in December 2018. The Commission attributed the rise in data usage to the increased broadband penetration in the country in 2019. Also, the regulatory body said it provided the necessary regulatory support for operators to implement the various initiatives within the year that increased data usage in the country. That was the business segment of the news. Up next is foreign news. Stay tuned.